Not go grapefruit juice today, but making progress here with the sponsorship. Very excited. Got a response, got an email. We will celebrate together here, folks. Mike Randle, Chief Content Officer on X at Randle Rant. You know the deal. 8 and 6 years today, college basketball betting show here at FTN. We continue rolling. Coffee today. Continue rolling as we go through the games. Tonight is tricky. Tonight is very tricky. Yesterday, good game, good day, 8 and 6, solid 57%, exactly what we're looking for. Came close on a couple as well. Some things we learned. UCLA has not gotten over the hump here, but got off to a 5-1 start. So if you got in early, hopefully you locked in some profits and had a nice night as well. So tonight, very interesting because a lot of teams under the radar and a lot of the big games I'm not so sure of. Just a reminder to everyone who watches the show, we are coming back on Saturday at 10:30. And guess who I'm going to have with me? That's right, our own Mike Kutry, the leader here with his props, the prop master, if you will. Mike Kutry looks like he'll be joining me at 10:30 on Saturday morning. So you will have Mike Randle, Mike Kutry, full FTN show, 10:30. We're going to have props galore. It's going to be a fantastic time. So make sure you hit that like button, get it scheduled. See you back at 10:30. But without further ado, let's get to today's games. You know, I like Bellarmine. I have liked Bellarmine for a while, but I don't trust him here. I think this is a coin flip game, and Austin Peay has been very impressive so far. This is the opener in the A-Sun for both teams here. And what I like about Austin Peay is they are going to have the best player on the floor in DeMarcus Sharp. They are coming off a game against Memphis in which Austin Peay was very competitive away here against a good Memphis Tiger team. You have an Austin Peay team that is great at locking you down from three-point range. They're going to hold you to under 30% from three-point range. And Bellarmine has turned into one of these teams. And Scott Davenport does a good job here with the Knights. But Bellarmine has turned into one of these teams where we pass and watch, and we don't have anyone that can beat us off the dribble, and we're hoping to make threes, but we only shoot 31%. We don't guard well inside the arc. We're giving up 57% from inside the arc. We have no offensive rebounding whatsoever. I think Austin Peay is more athletic. I think Austin Peay is more explosive, and Bellarmine is favored. I am grabbing this one right away here. I like Bellarmine, but they're only 4-11. They've lost 4 in a row. Pounded at Utah, pounded BYU, played tough against High Point. I get that, but Austin Peay here at home, coin flip game. We are going to grab the points as we normally do with the best player on the court. Monmouth has been very good. Monmouth is competing. Did you guys watch Monmouth against Oklahoma? Did you see that game? Because that was a lot closer than it really should have been. And they didn't even play well in that game, Monmouth. Monmouth goes to Oklahoma here to end their non-conference schedule. Xander Rice, who is King Rice's son, the head coach's son, Xander Rice only 10 points, 1 of 8 from inside the arc. Yet somehow Monmouth hanging around in that game against Oklahoma. They have played very well. I saw them against Seton Hall. They covered that game in a close one. They beat Rider at home. They beat Manhattan at home. They beat Northern Illinois at home. They beat Lehigh at home. The only team that beat them at home is Princeton, and that was early in the season. I like this Monmouth team. They're going to be very competitive. CAA opener here for Monmouth. King Rice coming off a disastrous year, a lot better, shooting 39% from three-point range here. And now you're going to give me points against a Towson team, which, look, well coached by Pat Skerry, but plays at the slowest, the absolute slowest pace in all of college basketball. Points at a premium, only 61% from the free throw line. You know the drill, covering on the road, 61%. We will take Monmouth there. Same thing here. It's a coin flip. North Florida and Stetson. I think it's too many points. I like Stetson. They've been up and down for us trying to cover here. A-Sun opener. We have North Florida. Stetson, really good free throw shooting team. Stetson, number 1 team in the nation in free throw shooting. Guess what? North Florida is 6. Both teams shooting over 80% from three-point range, from the free throw line. North Florida coming off some really, really tough opponents. Florida State, Georgia, and Miami all away. So they are not going to be intimidated. They are finally getting to a team that is on their level. They are finally playing within the conference. I like them. I think it's too many points. Could Stetson win by 4? Sure. 7.5, little too much. We're going to go with them. I believe in Oakland, and the big difference with Oakland here is that they have the return of Blake Lampman. He is back and has made a huge difference. Oakland lost 5 of 6 games. People got off of Oakland. Remember the big win away at Xavier, won that game even though they were shorthanded outright. Then they lost to Purdue Fort Wayne at home. They lost to Toledo. They lost to Michigan State, lost to Dayton, lost to Cleveland State. But Lampman has been back. He was back for those games, but he didn't look 100%. So he sure as heck looked good at Youngstown State. Scored 26 points and was 7 of 13 from three-point range. So now Oakland is home, going against the Milwaukee team that is disappointed all year in Bart Lundy. This Bart Lundy team allows 38% from three-point range. They are terrible on the defensive boards. They do rely on B.J. Freeman, and they've won a couple games in a row, and they are 2-1 here in the horizon. But I think this is an Oakland spot. I think most people are going to be in Milwaukee thinking it's too many points, kind of like the game yesterday with UNC Asheville, which we nailed right away. UNC Asheville, comfortable cover from start to finish. Even though it was 10, I'm going to go with the home team, and I usually like the home team in the openers in conference. Colorado State, New Mexico, we actually got that one wrong. Colorado State looked good, was healthy, and played well. So when in doubt, I'm going here. First game after the break. They are home, Oakland. Oakland won Detroit Mercy away. Then they lost to Purdue Fort Wayne at home. Then they lost to Cleveland State, but they came back and beat Youngstown State. I like them here to get going again and to cover that big number. Delaware is very tough at home. Delaware has always been a good team here, plays very well. And tonight, I like them in a big win in the CAA opener here against Hampton. They lost their last two games, the Blue Hens, to Rider and Princeton at home. The Rider game was overtime, but Hampton, they are a better team than. They do not turn the ball over, the Blue Hens, and Hampton going on the road. What has Hampton done on the road this year? Away to Howard, lost by 12. Away to Norfolk State, lost by 7. Away to Bowling Green, lost by 10. Away to Eastern Michigan, brutal, lost by 3. Away to Drexel, lost by, 34 points. Hampton on the road, not good. Delaware at home, good. Going to make their free throws, not going to turn the ball over. That's exactly what we want. I think Detroit stinks. Green Bay has impressed me. I get it that Detroit's going to win a game at some point, but I don't think it's going to be this one. Detroit Mercy has looked terrible. I saw them against UPUI, IUPUI, 67-55. They lose on the road, and that's what IUPUI's best player being out of the game right before the tip was never close. They can't make threes. They can't stop the threes. They turn the ball over a ton. Detroit looks like a mess. Now, be careful here because Green Bay plays very, very slow under Sundance Wicks. They have one of the slowest paces in college basketball. So if Detroit somehow gets hot early, they're not a team that's going to come back, but I'm going to take that chance. They are 3-1. They beat Milwaukee at home. They beat Wright State at home. They beat Robert Morris at home. They do have to win on the road, but they were able to do that Green Bay at Illinois, Chicago. I think they get Detroit Mercy tonight, even though laying points with Green Bay on the road in the horizon, never a great idea because they played a slow pace. I am taking them and laying those points. Northern Kentucky, to me, is the pride of this conference until proven otherwise. Every year with Darren Horn, Northern Kentucky, year in and year out is good. They're coming off of 2 straight losses to St. Mary's and a Purdue Fort Wayne game that was really rough. Now they're playing Youngstown State. Youngstown State, the Penguins just look okay. They don't have any great metrics that stand out, but Northern Kentucky under Darren Horn plays defense and forces turnovers at a top 40 clip in the nation. They're not great from the free throw line. This is a bet on Horn. This is a bet on Northern Kentucky being home. This is Northern Kentucky after 2 straight losses, giving you a big effort here. And this is a Youngstown State team that did well, but just lost at home to Oakland. Let's see if that lingers today and go with them. Let's get to some questions here. I see the comments flying. Green Bay to Wisconsin. Let's go, Trevor. Yeah, remember, one of my best friends works for the Milwaukee Bucks there. Matt Pizarro's out with Milwaukee, so you know I am sensitive to Wisconsin as well. Jaden Stone might return for Detroit. He may. Either way, the line would probably adjust on that, but I think Green Bay can win on the road here against Detroit because they have been pitiful. I get it, but they play at a slow pace. They can get you on the back door. Not sure about Jaden Stone, but we will see. Limpscomb against Eastern Kentucky. Coming up on that one, Trevor. Hang around. We'll make sure we will get to that as well. And, of course, Trevor likes Monmouth outright tonight. Yeah, Monmouth at home is really good, guys. Monmouth at home is really, really good. And please, guys, Saturday, 10:30, Kutry. I'm just going to set him up like volleyball, and we're going to get rocking and rolling. Let's get back to the picks. This is a surprise to no one who watches this show on a regular basis. UNC Wilmington is my team. UNC Wilmington is ready to roll. I don't care that they're on the road against Drexel. I understand these games can get close, but I love UNC Wilmington. And don't even tell me that I'm coming on board here because of the game against Kentucky. Save that garbage. I've been on them from the start. I watched the game against Arkansas. They gave up 106 points. They were in foul trouble. They were in foul trouble for the start. And Arkansas is really, really good. Fine. But they don't turn the ball over. They're the masters of the mid-range. Takeo Siddle is fantastic as a coach. This team is one of the most veteran teams in the country. They have a lot of experience, top 50 in the country in experience, and they are strong. They have good minutes continuity, very much like a Florida Atlantic type team. They're 9-3. They are now starting in the CA. They're going on the road in Drexel, and I think they are getting the win here. Drexel, of course, can be competitive, but they can't score and they don't force turnovers. They're great on the board. So that's going to be the question is, can UNC Wilmington hit those mid-range shots? I think they do tonight. Jacksonville plus 5.5 against Florida Gulf Coast. Congratulations, Florida Gulf Coast, on the big win. I think this is your letdown spot for Florida Gulf Coast. Great win there over Florida Atlantic. Fantastic. Now they're opening at home against Jacksonville. Florida Gulf Coast does not defend the three well. They don't make free throws. They don't force turnovers. They're not great on the boards. What they have is a nice rivalry game against a Florida Atlantic team that will let you do whatever the heck you want on offense. Their defense is just not strong. That's the problem. So here comes Jacksonville with Jordan Mincy. They've played a tough schedule. They will only get some solid wins. They've played top teams. I think it's too close. It's a rivalry. 5.5 on the road, Jacksonville. Thank you very much. Scott Cross covers. Scott Cross covers. I feel terrible about Old Dominion. Head coach Jeff Jones had the heart attack. He's recovering. Prayers up for him. But I think this is a team now in disarray that has unfortunately lost their identity, and they're going on the road here against a Troy team that you know I love, that is absolutely fantastic on the boards. Troy is 1-0 here in the Sun Belt Conference. This is their second game. They won at Coastal Carolina by 7 and covered, which is never easy. They've played some very tough games this year. They're great on the offensive boards. They're great from three-point range. Old Dominion is going to play at that slow pace. They're not making free throws. They're a little disjointed. They have lost 6 of their last 7 games. Only game they won was Temple. Got blitzed by UMass in the neutral there when Coach Jones unfortunately had the health issue. South Alabama as well. They lost that one at home. I'm going with Scott Cross. I don't like the spot here. Obviously, the interim coach, terrible situation, but Troy at home is very tough regardless of the opponent. I think Michigan State turned a corner. We'll find out tonight. I think they're a better team than Penn State. They were able to handle a good Indiana State team who I like really much. I think Michigan State has turned the corner. They've risen their three-point shooting up to 34% right now, which is top 150 in the nation. And you know that's a problem and that they're really hot because they were abysmal to start the year. But they've won 4 straight games. Baylor, Oakland, Stony Brook, Indiana State. They are now 0-2, Michigan State, in the Big Ten. They absolutely need this game. Michigan State had Final Four hopes. Michigan State had winning Big Ten hopes. Indiana, brutal. Purdue obviously started to pull away, but they did lose to Northwestern to start. They need to keep their spot, Michigan State. You're going to get a packed house tonight. You're going to get a strong effort against Penn State. Like Mike Rhodes, like what he's doing. I think this is a bad spot for them. They are 1-1. They beat Maryland. They beat Ohio State, rather, and lost to Maryland away in overtime. I think Michigan State rolls. I like them to win the game. I am not picking Penn State to lose by 7. It's not what I'm doing here. Michigan State cannot go 0-3. I think we get the big win. Kind of like what Charleston's doing. They're starting to make their threes. I picked against Charleston to start the year because they were terrible from the three-point line, but they've gotten much better. And you know that Pat Kelsey's going to get it right. They started 1-3 in the year, but look what they've done over the last couple weeks. They have won 8 of their last 9. The only loss was to Florida Atlantic away when they ended up playing on back-to-back days. December 1st, they beat Liberty. They played them December 2nd. Tough turnaround there. I am going with them tonight in the opener in the CAA. Charleston on the road against Hofstra. They are making threes. They're playing well. They had some solid wins at home against St. Joe's, who's a really good team. Hofstra has lost 4 or 5. They did lose to St. John's, and that was a game without Ledlam. They really should have won that without Ledlam, but they didn't. Now they're home. I get it. They shoot well, but they don't defend well, particularly from beyond the arc. They do make their free throws. Toss-up game going with Charleston. Not going to be a comfortable cover. This is not the game you want to go to if you expect to see your team up and winning the whole time. Hofstra is good. Speedy Claxton's a great coach. It's very tough in Long Island to win. I get it, but I'm going to go with Charleston here. Not the most comfortable game if that's what you want. I'm taking Lipscomb minus 1.5. This game came up before against Eastern Kentucky. I like Lipscomb here. Again, ASUN is opening up tonight. They are away at Eastern Kentucky. The problem with the Colonels is they are the worst team in college basketball at defending the three-pointer. They are allowing 44% from three-point range. What does that even mean? On offense, they're only shooting 44% from inside the arc, and they don't make their free throws. So let's put this together for you. Eastern Kentucky, starting the ASUN Conference, they are coming off 5 straight losses. They are home. They give up three-pointers they give up three-point efficiency at the worst rate in the nation. They don't make their shots inside 2-point range. They can't make free throws. They don't force turnovers. That doesn't sound like a really great mix. So I guess if you want to go with the other way, you're going to go because they're a home team. I'll take Lipscomb. Good on offense, good from 3-point range. Well coached here, Lenny Acuff, team that is looking to make a run in the A-Sun because you have teams here in the A-Sun that actually look a little bit vulnerable. I'm going to take Wright State -6 against Cleveland State simply because most people are going to take Cleveland State. I think Wright State here at home is still a team that is well coached and very dangerous. Cleveland State, terrible from the free throw line, terrible from inside the arc, little helter-skelter, terrible on the defensive boards. They don't box out, but they get after the offensive boards. Tristan Anaruna has been fantastic, and this looks like a lot of points for a team that's 10-5, that's 3-1 here in the horizon, going on the road. You're giving them 6 points against Wright State. I know that feels like a lot, but I like Scott Nagy's team. 2 straight losses, 1-2 in the horizon. This game is a pick because it feels like Cleveland State is going to be the side. I think Cleveland State's played a little bit above their head. Wright State can score a ton of points at home. They've put up at home 101. They put up 92 against Miami of Ohio. They put up 81. They put up 103 against IUPUI. Wright State, the Raiders, can shoot the three and can get out and jump on you when they are home. They are like a mini Bradley, if you will. And I think Cleveland State gets their comeuppance tonight. Cleveland State has played well, has had some close battles here. Bradley, Western Michigan, Oakland. It just feels like the law of efforts, and they almost struggled, Cleveland State, against IUPUI, which was interesting away. They got up big, but they let them back in the game. That was a bad sign. I think it's a law of efforts here for their second straight road game, going with Wright State in that matchup. I've seen Northeastern. I don't think Northeastern is very good. I don't think Northeastern is covering 6. Now, Stony Brook is much better at home than they are on the road, but I think 6 is too much here. If you look at Northeastern's metrics, and the thing about Northeastern is they have been coached by Bill Cohen for God knows how many years. He has been there forever, but has really struggled the last 2 years here at Northeastern. Northeastern lost away to Rhode Island. That was a bad loss. They did keep it close against Virginia. I just don't think they're a team that covers by that many points. They do play better at home, but they lost to Vermont at home. Stony Brook here comes in, athletic team under Geno Ford, just got a win over Brown. They've won 5 of their last 6. They went out to Michigan State, hung around for a little bit. Michigan State pulled away at the end. So Stony Brook, I just think it's too much. I'm taking the points here on the road. Little fun fact for you. Always interesting. I love this stuff. You want to look here at teams against the spread. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the number 1 team against the spread this year, your Minnesota Golden Gophers. Thank you very much. So I will take Minnesota plus 6.5 against Michigan. You know my thoughts on Michigan here, but Minnesota has played well and has competed well. It's very much under the radar. They're 10-3 this year. Ben Johnson's done a good job. They won 5 games in a row. And last time against Maine, you know what was big about Minnesota is they got Dawson Garcia back, the big man inside. So they have Elijah Hawkins. They have Mike Mitchell. They have Dawson Garcia. Cam Christie does a nice job. So a lot of options here against a Michigan State team that does not play well, has not covered well. I know we're going to get their best effort. They're 1-1. I just think there's questions with Michigan. The only thing I worry about that coming off the loss to McNeese State is that we get the massive Doug McDaniel blow-up game. So if you like Michigan, I would marry the Doug McDaniel prop to that. I don't. I'm going with Minnesota. Yes, little known fact, your Minnesota Golden Gophers, 12-1 against the spread this year. Too many points for me to lay with Memphis on the road. I like Memphis this year. You know that. Tulsa can be a problem at home. They have a good home court advantage. They're going to battle. This is the opener here in the AAC. I just think it's a lot of points. Tulsa's great at defending the three-point line. They hold opponents under 30%. Tulsa is great at forcing turnovers as well. So give me Memphis with a little bit of struggle on offense. Give me Memphis maybe turning the ball over a little bit. Memphis has won, but they beat Vanderbilt at home by 2, a team they were much better than. They did have some good wins over Clemson, Virginia, and home. But in terms of away games, this is only their second true road game. They've played 4 true road games here, but each of those games have been close. They ended up playing Missouri away. That game was close. They pulled away. That was in November. Then they go on the road to Mississippi. They lose by 3. Then they play VCU away. The game goes to overtime. Then they play Texas A&M. They do win. I just think it is a lot of points here. It's Tulsa. It's the AAC. They're going to play well. Going to be a rivalry. Crowd's going to be there. I will take them. This one was hard for me. Take a sip. I don't like numbers around 5, 5.5, 6. when you're talking about a battle that's within the conference and it's on the road. It just is a number that has always caused me concern. It's something I've watched. James Madison, 1-0 this year in the Sun Belt, 13-0. They look fantastic. I get that. Dominant. They can score. They didn't cover against Morgan State. Didn't cover at Texas State. They barely cover. He got 17.5 there. It was very close. Buffalo at home, they didn't cover. They get a little sloppy. The James Madison Dukes team that I back is when James Madison plays Purdue, when James Madison plays Michigan State, when James Madison plays those big teams. That's when I like them. I don't like them here. Going on the road against Louisiana. Louisiana coming off a loss to Marshall away. McNeese State away, they lost. But Louisiana, Bob Marlin is the coach. He's been there for a while. He does a solid job. They're great at forcing turnovers. They could get James Madison to get a little sloppy here. I don't like this number. It may even be 5.5 right now at a lot of sites. I'm taking Louisiana plus the 6. Just to me, it's a belief that I have. Sun Belt battle, cocky James Madison coming in. Little weird to me. Little weird. Kind of like Florida Atlantic going on the road to Florida Gulf Coast. One of those type of games. Don't like it here. I have been impressed with New Mexico State. I was against New Mexico State to start the year. Remember when we talked about this? Because they were coming off all the disaster that they had last year. But New Mexico State has played well. And they did a very nice job for us getting against Cal Baptist, which was really nice. They have played some tough games. I like the Aggies here tonight at home against UTEP. If you look at them, they went overtime against Fresno and a neutral, lost. They went overtime against Louisville. Again, Louisville not great, but Mexico State wasn't great. Lost that game away, but they played tough on the road. New Mexico at home, really good team. Lost by 1. Stephen F. Austin away, lost by 3. Tulsa away, lost by 6. They are competing. Jason Hooten has really done a great job in a tough situation with the Aggies. New Mexico State here, much better than their metrics look. UTEP, horrific at scoring, very defensive-based oriented team with Joe Golding. Remember Joe Golding, fantastic with the Abilene Christian win over Texas years ago in the tournament. Down screen, slow, deliberate. They're going to force turnovers as well, but they cannot score. They cannot make free throws, and they are terrible at providing turnovers for other teams here. So I'm going to take New Mexico State minus the 2.5. We may even get a little bit more on that. And final one for me, guys, and I'll get to your comments. Santa Clara against Loyola Marymount. You know my thoughts on Loyola Marymount. I don't like them, but I also struggle with Loyola Marymount because they have an absence here. Justice Hill is out for them. Alex Merkvalazzi, I think I'm saying that right. He was out last game. He is supposedly supposed to play per Rothstein tonight, but I don't like this Loyola Marymount team. They rely on three-pointers, and the loss of Hill is a big deal. Herb Sendek, good coach, great at defending inside the arc. They're going to have to shoot threes really well tonight, Loyola Marymount, and I don't think they can do that shorthanded. Kelly Leapepe should be affected by the Santa Clara defense inside. This team is tough. They beat Duquesne on a neutral. They beat Washington State on a neutral. This is the opener for them in the West Coast Conference. It's also the opener for Loyola Marymount. I am going to take the underdog coin flip game on the road. Not fully healthy Loyola Marymount. I am taking Santa Clara plus 1.5. There's a couple games I did not pick today, if you noticed. Let's get to the comments. I'm sure they are flying here. Trevor's feeling a big day for everybody. I hope so. Solid day yesterday. Let's see what happens. Let's see. What do we got? We got chat is rolling. Guys, I love the chat mob. You guys are fantastic here. Jacksonville outright, hell of a game from Florida Gulf Coast. Yeah, it was a hell of a game, but I think they're coming back here. In Minnesota plus 6.5. Yeah, I'm taking it. I don't trust Michigan. I've picked against Michigan. Trevor, we got McNeese State as the outright winner last time. I think people are selling high. They're still buying on Michigan, and they're waiting to buy on Minnesota. I think Minnesota does a really good job, and I think it's really, really close. Colby likes Eastern Kentucky and Lipscomb for the reason I talked about. Thank you, sir. Same here, Lipscomb so far. The game Wright State plays on 4 minutes avoid the late road class amendment. Yeah, it's very tough to win at Wright State, and they can score. So the question is, are they going to be able to score enough to pull away and cover? I think that's true. Yeah, strength of schedule. Colby, I get that. But Michigan is not exactly a team that has showed any domination. They're very hard to figure out. They're up and down, and it's very hard to figure out if they're rolling or not. I understand they've played Memphis, Texas Tech, Stanford, Oregon, Indiana. I understand that. Indiana is not good. They just got destroyed by Nebraska the other day. They lost to McNeese State. That was a bad loss to Florida. I get it. It's a good Florida team, but it's a team they should have beat. Did they even look good against Eastern Michigan at home? Don't think so. And they allowed 80 to Iowa, a team that has struggled, even though they're fast-paced, so I don't like them as well. Let's see here. Yeah, this one's Trevor, here's the problem. Do I like Utah? Yes, I like Utah. Do I want to pick Utah? Yes. But what's the problem with this game? The 5.5 on the road. If I had to pick a 5.5 on the road, this would be the one. I think Utah's clearly the better team. I think they're the better coach team. I just don't like laying that point unless I have a super strong conviction. I don't like laying that point when it's a conference game and the favorites on the road. That's why I avoided it. Hit the button and subscribe, please, people. Yes, I appreciate it. Did I do Poncho? Yeah, UNC Wilmington's my team. I'm not afraid of Drexel. Okay, you're going to give me a 1.5 on the road. I get that Drexel can be tough. I get that we can be competitive at home. UNC Wilmington, that's my team. I'm rolling with them as well. 6.5 now, Ben. That's good. If it's getting to 6.5, makes me feel better. That's weird, right? I did a study last year when we were on the show about 5.5 point favorites struggling to cover. I got to go back and do some more research. I'll pull that one up. Hopefully I get it for next time. That is it, folks. We're ready to roll. We will be back. Best of luck to everybody. Thank you for joining. Hit the like, subscribe button. As always, follow us here. FTN Fantasy, Mike Randle and X at Randle Rand. Mike Kutri and I, fingers crossed, will be back 10:30. That'll be a coffee. That'll be grapefruit juice. And that'll be a heck of a lot of props because you know he is the prop master. As always, folks, thank you for joining us. See you Saturday, 10:30 in the morning. Let's get to that window.